The behavior that we are seeing in our community is absolutely unacceptable.
Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Now ladies and gentlemen, I know I said I was going to take a break this week, but the thing is that this is what I do every day anyways. So it's like 4 o'clock in the morning right now, and this is my regular get up and go time. So I'm having my coffee and I'm looking at this article, and I thought I'd read it over with you. And I also have a little message to put out that goes along with the narrative that is being explained here in this article. And this says this is a nationwide insurrection. They're getting desperate, ladies and gentlemen. They're getting desperate over there in Ottawa. The government there sees that there's not much that they can really do except to do what they're best at, and that's to use force, and also the power of manipulating the press and the people to coerce them into thinking the way that they want them to think. So it says here, Ottawa mayor declares state of emergency amid trucker convoy occupation. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you what. The T word comes out in this article. I was waiting to see when the T word was going to be used exclusively for this group of people that want nothing but freedom. Protesters continue to gather and demonstrate against mandates and restrictions in Canada's capital on February 6th, marking the one-week anniversary of the so-called occupation. Isn't that something, ladies and gentlemen, that a citizenry that pays taxes, and a lot of taxes at that? I do believe that our brothers and sisters in Canada have a very, very high tax bracket, but that's not what this is about. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, that when I read these articles, it's not really political. If you hear me speak against government, it's against government. It's not against a certain party or not, but against the policies and the restrictions that governments put forth on their people while they themselves enjoying those same things that they are restricting others from doing. Think about that. We are on day 8 of this occupation. Our city is under siege, they say. What we are seeing is bigger than just a city of Ottawa problem. This is a nationwide insurrection. Isn't that something, ladies and gentlemen? A nationwide insurrection. This is madness, they say. We need a concrete plan to put an end to this, said the chair of the board, Ottawa City Council member Diane Deans, at the beginning of the nearly 2-hour-long virtual discussion. Now, obviously here, ladies and gentlemen, just from reading this right here, you can tell what kind of an attitude the people that are in charge of governance have. That it is their opinions that matter. That it is they who are over the people, and they get to say what the people can do. Well, remember, ladies and gentlemen, especially for those of you that are freedom lovers, and I'll tell you what, even for those of you that are not, remember that we the people, we have the power. They don't. They have perceived power. The perceived power that we give them. They have power because we think they have power. But this here movement, the reason it's so important is because it is allowing people from all over the world to see that it is we the people that have the power, not government. They have the power against the single or the minority. They do not have the power against the majority. Ottawa Police Chief Peter Slawley agreed with her portrayal of the situation, saying that the local law enforcement was never intended to deal with a city under siege, and decried the lack of resources and legal authority to disperse the protest. And wouldn't they love anything more, ladies and gentlemen, than to have that legal authority to do whatever they had to do to disperse of those same people that pay their salaries. And I'm going to go ahead and show you, ladies and gentlemen, they're going to use the T word here, all right? And I'm not going to use it because I don't want to get blocked by YouTube. You know, the T word where someone is like an insurrectionist when they're against their government. That word. I'm going to use it. Instead of using that, I'm just going to say T or T word. right? That way you know what I'm talking about. But I'm going to give you some examples of how throughout all of history that word has been used. And I think you'll be surprised. Many of you won't, but maybe some of you will. At one point, deans wondered whether the city had legal grounds to declare an unlawful assembly and then a riot in order to conduct mass arrests, instead of pursuing one criminal charge at a time. And they say that there are so many people out there engaged in a broader act of mayhem. But what is the definition of mayhem, ladies and gentlemen? To tell you the truth, all of the videos that I've seen, everything that I've seen on social media has been peaceful. The only thing that I saw that was close to like being borderline was when a counter protester made believe to get hit by a vehicle, and I think it might have been on this article, but maybe not. But where a counter protester made believe to get hit by a vehicle, but thankfully it was being recorded, and you can tell that, you know, they were actually doing it on purpose. So they weren't injured, they just made believe they were injured. That's the closest thing that I've seen to any type of violence whatsoever, and that's not even considered violence. That would have been an accident. But everything I've seen is peaceful. Everything I've seen is a lot of the people of Ottawa actually standing up and saying, yes, I support the truckers. I support all of this. And I saw a video where a lady from Ottawa that lived there, she said, I can live with the horns. You know, I can live with it because what they're doing here is the right thing. And she was actually going around trucker to trucker, collecting their laundry, taking it home, doing their laundry, and bringing it back. The people have had enough, ladies and gentlemen. They want to be free. You know, and they're not even asking for that much. They're not even, as far as I know, I don't know what all of their demands are, but as far as I know, they just want all of these mandates taken out. They just want to go back to living life like they were living life before, making a living, putting food on the table. We can't allow this kind of T word in our community to continue this way. Yes, in accordance with the narrative laid down by Trudeau's Twitter feed, the establishment is now calling protesting truckers the T word. You know what I say, truckers? Honk on. Honk on. They will realize how important you are when their shelves run empty. They will realize. I can only hope, ladies and gentlemen, that here in the United States, that the movement that starts here with the truckers, I'm not sure when it's supposed to start. I think it's sometime this week. I think it's supposed to go from somewhere in the West Coast in California all the way to DC. I hope it has just as much of an impact as what this is having in Canada, or even half as much. It would be a great success, because people need to realize that without freedom, you have nothing. All of these overlords that put these mandates and policies upon us, they don't follow them, ladies and gentlemen. How many examples do we have of our rulers breaking their own rules? How many do we have? I mean, I think I put this video out on the Alaska Prepper News channel where I read an article about the French President Macron, I think is how you pronounce his name, where he was quoted as saying, and I'm going to paraphrase his quote, but he was quoted as saying something such as, "We want to make our citizens' lives hell. Those who choose to not get the vitamin, we want to make their lives hell." In a brief statement, the city said the decision reflects the serious danger and threat to the safety and security of residents, which is a lie, of course, posed by the ongoing demonstrations, and highlights the need for support from other jurisdictions and levels of government. It also provides greater flexibility within the municipal administration to enable the City of Ottawa to manage business continuity for essential services for its residents, and enables a more flexible procurement process which could help purchase equipment required by frontline workers and first responders, the city said in its statement. Pretty much they want to buy tow trucks. They want to buy tow trucks, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I think. Protest organizers say their demonstrations are peaceful. Apart from this terrible, awful, horrific T-word attack on a good, honest local citizen who was just trying to cross the road. And it was this article that I seen this in this tweet. And check this out.
He's just pretending. He's pretending.
And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's the best that they have to fight back with. And the reason that is because they have nothing. They have nothing to stand on. They have no moral code to stand on. Or they have no moral cause to stand on for what they are doing against freedom. And here some truckers are quoted as saying, "To anyone that is annoyed, we apologize. Please call Justin Trudeau, his office, and get these mandates lifted, and we're out of here." Trudeau has refused to meet with the protesters. Isn't that something, ladies and gentlemen? Imagine if you were in charge of governing, or let's say that you were the mayor of a small town, and the small town wanted to have a, what do you call those things, a town hall meeting, and you said, no, I refuse to go to the town hall meeting. I know you elected me. I know you elected me for the betterment of our town or our city, but yeah, I don't have time to go to talk to you and get your opinion on things. The reason is, ladies and gentlemen, is this. It's because they know that they are on the side of wrong. They really do know this. These overlords of ours, they do know what they're doing, ladies and gentlemen. They know exactly what they're doing. They're not stupid. Trust me when I say that. They're not stupid. They know exactly what they're doing. And in using the T word, we're going to get to that here in a minute. All right. Let's remember, most of Ottawa is government. And listen to this. A huge number of civil servants live in Ottawa, and they haven't missed a paycheck. They are still able to feed their families, ladies and gentlemen. They have gotten pay raises. Some of them have gotten back pay. Most of them are working from home. Some of them who can't work from home are just going and doing nothing and still getting paid. These are the people that are being fed by these truckers. While they were at home getting paid to work from home or getting paid not to work, these truckers were out there actually delivering to them the things that they needed in order to survive without pretty much contributing to society, just staying home. The US government considered Nelson Mandela a T-word until 2008. Now, why is that, ladies and gentlemen? Because what Nelson Mandela was doing did not fall in line with the US government policies. And then in 2008, it probably did. So it's not what's good for someone else. It's what's good for the government that matters. What was Nelson Mandela doing? Does anybody know the history of Nelson Mandela? Now, I know. Trust me, ladies and gentlemen. I know he was fighting against apartheid. And, well, I can't say I know. I've studied this. I've read this in the past, all right? I'm not like a history major or anything like that. But Nelson Mandela did a lot of horrific things. He did a lot of really bad things, you know, that we would consider bad now. But why was he doing it? Ask yourself that. Why was he doing it? Why Ethiopian heroes and nationalists are T-words for the tyrant regime? And I'm just going to read this real small excerpt here. I was called a T-word yesterday, but when I came out of jail, many people embraced me, including my enemies. And that is why I normally tell people who say those who are struggling for liberation in their country are T-words. I tell them that I was also a T yesterday, but today I am admired by the very people who said I was one. History will show, ladies and gentlemen, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now, history will tell how it is that a whole bunch of T's were able to bring freedom, not to a nation, but to a world. The secret sauce is attrition. Don't stop, no matter what. Because these governments, they're a lot smaller than we are. I mean, take a look at the US government. 537 decision makers. 537. 535 on the Hill and 2 up in the White House. Now, I know that there's a whole bunch of bureaucrats behind those names. There's probably thousands, maybe even more than 100,000. Ladies and gentlemen, our founding fathers here in the United States were T's. Yes. Why? Because they were fighting for freedom against an oppressive, right? An oppressive government. You know, people today call our founding fathers, they were colonists and stuff like that. They were nothing of the sort. They were fighting against colonialism. They were fighting England for their freedom because England wanted to make the United States, which back then it wasn't the United States, but it wanted to make the United States its permanent colonies. And what's a colony? Except for something that you use to strip the wealth from. That's what that is. A colony is pretty much something that you use to strip the wealth from. We're going to colonize this island over here. We're going to use our nuclear bombs to experiment on it. And then when everyone has cancer, we'll leave. We've stripped what we needed from that island. All right, I'm sure many of you know what I'm talking about. And then we'll leave. That's colonization. But the founding fathers were fighting. They were fighting that because they wanted to be free. But at that time, and it seems that even now people are saying that they were the T word. People who today enjoy the freedoms that is a result of the acts that were committed by our founding fathers, call them the T word. Ironic, isn't it? George Washington was a T. Indeed, so was Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin as well, John Adams, and all the signatories of the Declaration of Independence. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that. It's just incredible what's going on. We live in very interesting times. I have a lot of hope. And again, I'm very proud of our Canadian brothers and sisters. Thank you for what you started, and now it's up to the rest of the world to go ahead and pick up the torch and carry on. Because, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you what. There is one place on earth that I know about for a fact. There is one place on earth where you can be safe. 100% safe. Well, maybe not 100%, but as close to safe as you can be. And this is going out to those of you out there that don't love freedom. There's one place on earth, and I can tell you how to get there. But you do your own research, okay? I'm not telling you to do it. I'm just telling you how to get there. But there's this dystopian place on earth where you get 3 meals a day. You even get snacks if you want them, okay? You get free electricity. You get free heat. You get free medical care, free dental care, right? You get a warm place to live. You get all of those things. Sounds wonderful, doesn't it? But there's a catch, right? You get all of these things for free, but there's a catch. It's an 8x8 cell where you're allowed to leave for 1 hour a day into an enclosed yard where you are supervised for 1 hour of exercise in sunlight, or whatever sunlight you may be able to get. And a guard brings you your meal 3 times a day. And I do believe, I don't know this for a fact, but they have what they're called cantinas or something like that. I'm not sure. Or I forget the name of the little stores they have in jails. But where you can buy snacks and stuff like that and bring it back to your room, if they allow that. But it's the safest place on earth. But how much freedom do you have? So do you want to be free, or do you want to be safe? Because there's no such thing as being able to combine the two together. Freedom does not mean safety. It means living with the consequences of your decisions. And if your decisions produce an unsafe environment in whatever way you want to talk about it, manipulate it, then that is the consequences of the decisions that you made.